Everybody, welcome back to an episode of My Thoughts. Back here, I think this is just to get right into it. We're back, and I think this is a pretty interesting topic to talk about. Particularly, the most thing I see, I think this is mostly an issue in the United States. I know if you're out of the United States watching this video, it maybe differs, but I know this is a pretty bigger topic that at least I see as a driver myself, and I know probably a lot of other people are complaining about it that I've seen across all mediums of social media and the news and whatnot. And I think it's a pretty interesting topic, and I thought it was kind of interesting to bring up on my thoughts. I thought it would be a interesting topic to give my thoughts about, and it's LED headlights. Now, LED headlights. I'm going to be reading some articles here and some things, particularly on cars, just in general headlights on cars, and they're too bright. I mean, to be honest with you, they're too bright, and they're too bright to be on the road. And some of them are decently okay, but I mean, most of them that at least I've run into driving, they're too bright, and they're mostly on every modern car. Like any new car, probably after like I don't know, it's been a while. Probably after like 2019 or 2020 cars, if they're making them new. I think that's when most LED lights kind of came into play and became modernized throughout newer cars. So we're gonna be talking about it here, and it's gonna be I'm gonna be pretty much going on a rant because a lot of people I think would agree that the lights nowadays are too bright, and even maybe the legality of LED lights or headlights, I should say, are question, the legality of it. So we're going to be talking about it, reading an article here, so just going to get right into it. So this is from The Drive. It's a car article news kind of thing. So driving at night sucks these days. It sucks more than it used to before LED headlights came on the scene and became cheap enough for aftermarket companies to sell them in huge numbers without a care towards quality or regulations. Tossing the ubiquity of jacked up trucks and well being blinded by all incoming headlights, something everyone could probably relate to at one time or another, and it's getting worse. And then it shows here, it took a long time and involved failures at multiple levels. Regulators limited technology, particularly here in the States. And by the time they relented and allowed new tech, they failed to confront the potential pitfalls. Go for a drive in Europe, and you'll see how much better night driving can be thanks to modern and adaptive headlight beams. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier, how, I know it's different in maybe other countries. In Europe, I know it's probably more regulated. And on this side of the pond, talking about the U.S., new cars are brighter than they've ever been, and the aftermarket industry is ever as unsatisfied with stock equipment, so they go even brighter. Oftentimes by tacking on LED modules such as that the resulting beam shines on areas far beyond the road below. How headlights are so pointed and is another major consideration when talking about blinding other drivers, and let's face it, many of the companies responsible for these aftermarket housings couldn't care less if they made life worse for everyone else, so long as somebody's pressing add to cart off the promise that a billion lumens it's a mess. And I, agree full so. And that's where we stand now, and I'll just quickly say, talking about the kind of talking to the persons who wrote this article point of view. If you're light sensitive for whatever reason, the reality can be even worse than that. And I think there's some interesting comments left on that blog. So just from some people here in the comments, a big part of notice is that folks don't seem to want to aim their lights properly anymore. I'm in a stock height Rubicon and I'm getting blinded, oddly enough, by a lot of other Jeeps. Your lamps are not aimed properly. I switched to LED in my Jeep. The default aiming could signal a small kind of reading all in here. Small aircraft, I set it to the proper level, top of the beam 36 inches off the ground, at 25 feet at zero issue. I've got drastically improved visibility over the stock halogens, and I'm not blinding people. And then another person said, every new Honda coming at me looks like it has its brights on. Teslas are the same way. Doesn't matter if they're crossovers or sedans, it's blinding and it's unsafe. They definitely aren't the only ones, but two are the most egregious. I was commuting at night for a time, and it got so bad that I refuse to go back when the time changes fall. I still drive at night, just not daily. Another issue is the modified vehicle, lifted or with aftermarket headlights or both, don't bother to properly aim, so it's just point wherever. It's not detrimental enough to flip on a massive light bar for you. So yeah, it's an interesting kind of a slippery slope in terms of legality, and we're going to get that to it later. Um, Especially since now the daylight savings time just recently changed, so it gets darker a lot earlier. Meaning obviously people have to use their headlights. And the thing is, it's like it's not just aftermarket; it's also some of the car manufacturers. I guess like Honda, like they were saying, putting them on our new cars, and it's kind of like it's they're putting them on the new cars, and I just don't think it's not as regulated, and the legality of it is not regulated. Or maybe some people aren't. Pointing their headlights properly. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm in the cars. I'm probably a regular guy. I mean, I'm decently into cars and probably on the regular schedule. But I mean, I'm decently into cars and I follow this kind of stuff, particularly, of course, because I drive. I'm a daily driver. I drive pretty much every day I can. But the thing is like, I'm sure me and a lot of other people can relate to this, where the lights are just too bright, and it does look like, and I sit in a smaller car. I don't have a truck or anything. I have a smaller car, so it sits lower to the ground. It's a sedan, so it sits lower to the ground. So especially when the higher up trucks, when there's like lifted trucks, or looks like they're blinding me. First of all, it looks like they have their high beams on. So when I flash them back, because obviously that's just what you do if you think somebody's high beaming you, flash them back. They flash me back because the thing is, I think they already have their brights on, but the LED lights are just bright by default. So when I flash them, and they don't have their headlights on, they flash me back. So it's double bright, and it literally blinds me, and I'm almost running off the road. It's a hazard, and I think it's something that they're not looking at enough going into the new cars. I think I read another article where it's like they are going to start looking at it a little bit more into it. I think particularly the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or the NHTSA, they're going to be looking into it for the more regulated. I think I read that, which is good, and think you're going to look more into regulating it. But it's a slippery slope. Like I said, even still with that being said, the legality of it, and I'm going to read a little bit more here. A little bit later, I'm going to read something else, but it's just looks like they're blinding you. But then, especially when they have their high beams on, it's like it's killing you. Especially if you sit in a lower car like me. So it's really, I don't know where we went wrong. I don't know why we really need giant LED lights. And this is where I'm kind of getting on a rant. I don't need to know where we need giant bright LED lights, headlights. I'm gonna call them LED lights, but you know what I mean. They're headlights, but you know, I don't know where the good old yellow. I guess they're technically yellow, like the older school cars. I guess technically yellow cars or yellow headlights. Um, I guess they're technically yellow, but you know what I mean. They're the old school kind of headlights that we've always had until they kind of changed it to LED lights. I mean that's just don't know where we went wrong. I think the old fashioned headlights were doing their job, and you could see. And then when you had your high beams on, you could enhance his visibility, and I don't really see any problem with that. And I don't really blame you if you want to have LED lights, on your car. That's fine, but make sure it's not blinding people. Make sure they're angled right, and make sure everything's up to code. You know what I mean? I mean, and whatever people want to do with their cars. I know a lot of people do a lot of customization to their cars nowadays, but whatever you want to do, I really don't care. But if it directly affects my safety, and if your lights are so bright, you're like blinding me to death, and I'm like, there's a chance I could get into an accident. That's when it really becomes my concern. When my safety becomes um, that's when it becomes a concern of mine, and a lot of other people too. I think would agree with me, naturally. But I mean, I just think that if you're gonna have LED lights, I don't think LED lights are a bad idea or concept. I just think the ones that are too bright, and that's what I'm seeing a lot of nowadays. I'll see LED lights that aren't too bright, but I mean the LED lights that are out now, most of them, I think they're just way too bright, and they need to be regulated more and looked at more. Or if cops, I think need to be on the lookout for that as well, amongst other things. If your LED lights are too bright, I think that should be something they should really look at. Now, I was reading something here. Looked up Google, so I looked up simply are brighter LED lights or LED headlights banned, and then here's was a Copilot search. Bright LED headlights are generally legal in the U.S. and much of Europe, but Europe is more regulated. That's what I'm saying. We need to be like Europe and regulate it more. Set safety standards for federal regulations for vehicle lighting, but no automaker has submitted a petition to the NHTSA, like I was saying earlier, for authorization to use LED technology in headlights. And state laws often require headlights to emit white or amber light and may impose limits on brightness and color. Aftermarket LED headlights were probably the biggest problems. May not be compliant with state regulations, so it's essential to check local laws and ensure they meet safety standards. In summary, white, bright LED headlights are legal. Compliance with state regulations is crucial to avoid legal issues. But a lot of people aren't paying attention. That's the problem. A lot of people don't really care about the legal or state level. They don't really look at that. They just install LED headlights and they don't really look at that. So I think that's the main problem. So in theory, my thoughts on the whole thing, they're too bright nowadays. Lights are too bright. I don't know where we went wrong with the old-fashioned headlights. But if we're going to have LED headlights coming around here for good, I think that, if that's going to be the new normal, I think they need to be regulated more for safety, and because they could work. Again, like I was saying, I've seen LED headlights that aren't so bright, and I think they could work. But now I think there's more, illegal ones, or I don't even know if they're considered illegal, but I mean, there's more ones that are causing safety issues and the more ones that are too bright out on the road than ever. So I think it needs to definitely be regulated. It's something that could work, but it's only can be worked, just like with a lot of other things. it can only work if it's regulated enough and safety is taken into consideration, especially on the road. So, um, yeah, so that's my thoughts on the whole deal. I know I kind of went on a rant, but I thought this is quite the interesting topic here. Thinking about this for a while now, especially I see it pretty much every day on the road. I was thinking about, well, making my thoughts on it. I think thought it could be a pretty interesting topic. So I'm sure a lot of other, a lot of you guys other out there that do drive, I think that you guys could probably relate to it. The LED lights nowadays are too bright. Um, yeah, that'll pretty much do it for my thoughts. Just coming on here, quicker episode, but again, I thought it'd be a pretty interesting topic to come on here and give my thoughts on. So, and yeah, of course, feedback is always welcome on the video, whatever it is it may be. Comment down below what you guys think of LED headlights. Do you think they're too bright most of the time, or do you think they need to be more regulated? Pretty much kind of what I think. Do you agree with me? Not agree with me? Whatever it is it may be. Friendly discussion down in the comments. I hope to see that. So all that good stuff. Of course, make sure to subscribe for more content. Like the video, all good stuff. Discord, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. Link in the description. And yeah, good stuff coming. So stay tuned for that. But for now, though, I will see you guys in the next video.